Been a very beautiful day today. It was over freezing and sunny for the most part. Been resting. Yeah, it's funny. My foot was sore today, and it's been in a while. See, it's been Friday. It's been a week since I cut my foot, and it is starting to heal. But obviously, it's still quite painful if I bump it. As long as I don't bump it, it stays pretty. Howdy. As long as I don't bump it, it's feels a little better. Yeah, it's I'm really thankful the snow's holding off. I was look at my diary, and if you go back last year and the year before, it's actually a lot. Snow was we had snow already here the last 2 years, and this year we had a cooler summer, cooler fall, but thankfully the snow is holding off. We had one snowstorm, and I think it was last year. Did not snow that much till after December 4th, after our house burned down. But 2 years back, we already had snow on the ground quite a bit earlier. Deer hunting in flannel shirts today. So did you get anything yet? Yeah, I actually personally never deer hunted in my life yet, so. What? Oh, well, I'm just not really a hunter. I prefer to butcher stuff. It's a lot easier for me just to butcher an animal instead of go out and sit and wait for it. I'd rather talk to somebody than go hunting. Yeah, so far I got more potatoes to harvest yet, but I've got 50 buckets of potatoes, 55-gallon buckets in the basement now, and we probably got, I don't know how many more to go yet. And this year I'm feeding the bad ones to pigs, so I prefer to fish. I've been feeding the green ones or small ones or, misshapen ones to pigs, which we would have normally had more, but since I'm feeding them, I'm saving the good ones. So, and I noticed when we store potatoes for about a year, close to a year, the bigger the potato, the longer they stay good. The smaller potatoes, when they start to get like into the next summer, they start to shrivel up, where a bigger potato will last a lot longer. So I think for long storage, the bigger the potato, the longer they last, if you keep the sprouts taken off. They have less drying out. And it seemed like, in general, the white potatoes didn't store as well, where the russets, the yellows, they're probably Yukon Golds, and reds did pretty good, I thought. But the white potatoes in general didn't. They just seemed to either rot more, sprout more, get softer. What's that? Yeah, and this year we don't have any rodents this year. We haven't had no mice damage at all. But 2 years or 3 years ago, before we had all the cats, we lost a lot of our potatoes to mice, rats. They would come in just about around harvest time. They started eating the potatoes, damaging them, and I'd say it's worth having a lot of cats, because now we have. Well, I know we have 8 pure white cats and about 3 or 4 mixed ones still. So that'd be 12. So we have 12 cats right now. But we've had up as much as 20. This summer we had as many as 20 or more than 20. We had too many of them, but the cats are a big help in keeping the farm rodent free. Mice, rats, squirrels, moles, voles. They pretty much keep everything cleaned up. And I did see that someone had a rat the other day, which means somebody's rat from somewhere else came by and they got killed before they ever did any damage. So cats play an important part in the farm. Yeah, well, the house is now completely, pretty much, I'd say completely finished. On the first 1-inch boards all the way around, except 2 strips I need to get on. And then the inside wall, but the outside is all covered. Thankfully, we got that done before it snowed. Yeah, I got still ways to go yet. It's going to be well, I guess it must be right to the stairs and move over to the other side of the pole that way. When we walk in, you won't be walking in. Oh, lose my platform here. Let's see. Something down here. So how are you guys all doing? Could you bring me a coffee cup or a cup? Yeah, tonight all the kids fell asleep or in bed. At least they're all in bed. I know Dave and Johnny are asleep, and Anna, I think she's still awake, but yeah, it's more quiet when they're asleep. But I like the noise. I always say, children are active and more noisy. It shows they have active minds, and then hopefully when they get older, they'll work hard and be smart. If they just sat there and done nothing, I get worried. David? Well, yeah, David likes to write. He'll take a pen and he will write. Well, he probably sees me writing. He's copying me, but it's good. It's good. He shows a lot of interest in a pen, paper. Yeah, I was wanting to. There's so much I can talk about, but when I don't have someone to talk with, I feel like I'm. I don't know. It's. I wish I had someone to go live with so I could talk to them about something. I always have a hard time just talking to a screen when I don't feel like I'm talking to somebody. I don't know why it's like that. I've always, ever since I was with the Amish, I got to, we'd sit and visit evenings and, spend a lot of time after our chores. Towards the evening, all day was over, we visit, talk a lot. But it seems like a lot of English people, they don't visit a lot. And even, I don't know how you'd say it, maybe not a lot of people don't socialize. I think it has maybe a lot to do with the modernism. Yeah, I blame the phone. People are always busy on their phones. What's that? Not always. Oh, cards? No, I don't really like to play cards anyhow. I like to play chess. Yeah, my wife won't play chess. I never did like games of chess. I like games of skill. I like something you gotta think about, So how's the weather in your guys' area? So we got Clayton's here, I think, looks like, and you. There's somebody else here. collapse, huh? No, that called my book fall down again. I was on TikTok and I was listening to people debating different subjects, and I thought it's interesting. You listen to them, it's like, why is it there are so many people that do not believe the basic? I mean, I guess what they believe is what they believe, but what I don't understand is when you sit and listen to them arguing about a subject, you'll think to yourself, well, that's not what the Bible says, but yet I don't stand by it. And it's not just in religious subjects. You hear it in science, in politics, opinions. And it's interesting to hear how some people will sit and argue a point when, now, for me, it's like, I know it's good to stand for what's right. And I think in some people's hearts they want to. But when you hear people stating their opinions or their beliefs, and yet they're adamantly wrong, it's like, why is it that so many people can't seem to? Well, and see, like I said, maybe I'm wrong too in some things. I'm not saying that I'm always right in my opinions, but like I was listening. There's one subject that religious subjects can be quite tricky with all the many councils where they've in the times past where you have the early church fathers writings and you have councils of churches and what they decided this or decided that, and but you can see how a lot of times opinion would be taken or made, and then anybody who didn't agree with that opinion was marginalized or put out of the church, or they remove themselves from the church. And so it kind of goes on. These certain beliefs or ideas seem to keep staying consistent, but yet when you look at the foundation of the argument's still there. I don't see a lot of these arguments that started back in the early century ever getting settled. Although I believe that if you look at the Bible and you read it as it says, then those arguments or the disagreements can be settled. But so many people, they'll hold to councils or doctrines of the church, and they don't necessarily believe what the Bible says. So you get the you get a kind of an interesting thing where you have Christians arguing about something, like I heard last week on TikTok, where you've got one Christian arguing with another and both being wrong or partly wrong, but yet they both believe they're right. I think it's important that we try to stay focused on what's really important. Otherwise, we're not going to be prepared for what's coming. I mean, this world, the way things are going, the system of this world could change so quickly. I have plenty of ancestors in the Crusades, knights and kings and noblemen. Yeah, Mickey, I like history too. I don't know if I had any direct crusaders or knights in my line. I do know that I've noticed European history is being removed from the internet, and that's really irritating to me. Whenever I look at a subject, some of the old historical subjects, they're gone. You can't even find a reference. You can't find an article, a picture. They've removed it, and it frustrates me. It's like they are taking can move in, but it doesn't quite work that way. At least not in Denmark. You got to have quite a bit of money to I think you'd have quite a bit of money to or business or something to be let in, unless you can prove near descent. And I think that means your father or your grandfather. It'd be my great grandfather. So one generation too many removed, I think. Yeah, that is when you go to Europe, you see the old castles and the ruins, and it just makes you think about, how life was rough. They had to defend themselves against attackers. They had to build forts and fortifications and walls and defense positions. And so we live such an easy life. We forget, I think, that humans have not changed. And if times got rough and people couldn't get their food, we're only days away or weeks away from trouble. And most of us don't have a castle to run to or a tower to hide in. And it's kind of a sad situation we find ourselves in, where, let's see, life is still rough. We defend ourselves against attackers, especially North America and Europe now. Well, I mean, we haven't had any actual wars here in America for a long time. And most people don't have the basic skills to survive if there was trouble. And I fear sometimes that because of the lack of faith or morality, a lot of people would turn to the easiest way to survive. I mean, if someone has a strong belief or moral code, they'll endure much more before they do wrong. I'm not saying people are prone to do wrong if they're pushed to the point where they're starving, going to die. But someone with a conscience or a belief not to hurt others, who sees value in others and who respects the word of God. Citywide during riots. Yeah. No, I think if we respect the not to steal, not to kill, not to covet your neighbor's property, we honor that. I think we have less problems. But when you have people who don't see a moral code, they look at it, everything as just the idea of the survival of the fittest, and whoever wins. It can become quite rough and hard times when people don't respect each other. And the thing is, I think is the way things are. The Bible prophecies would give us to understand that in the last days, there'll be troubled times. Yes, I understand, but I'm just saying that if people as a society would hold on to the moral code and honor that, there'd be less trouble. Where those who don't hold the moral code but systematically butcher each other, and it's sad. It's sad to see, Don't forget to stay home on Black Fridays. I've never gone Black Friday shopping. I don't shop ask my wife. When have I last shopped? I don't really go shopping. I stay home, so. My wife, she likes to shop, but I don't. So. Not on Black Friday. Oh, she said not on Black Friday. Yeah, I am. This area up here, I mean, Upper Peninsula only has 3% of the population of Michigan in it, so there's not a lot of people up here. But still, I mean, even now, the people that are around, a lot of them aren't honest. And when you see people who aren't honest, it makes you think, well, there's two things I feel is very important in a community or people in general. To be honest goes a long way in keeping relationships good and also fair. And to work hard, do your part. A lot of people get lazy and are dishonest. And then what happens, you can't trust them. You don't know if their words true or not. Yeah, it's like, my, you wish that, I mean, with the Amish, I had very few Amish I ever could say were dishonest to me in business. Every Amish man I ever loaned money to paid me back. I knew a few that were dishonest, but in general, most of them were honest. And if they told you something, they would do it. And you could, it's hard to convince a fool that he has been fooled. Very true. They would, you could trust them. I don't know why my book keeps falling tonight. My book keeps sliding down and I lose my phone. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's nice to have people you can trust. You know, when you make a deal, they're going to keep the deal. When they say they'll do something, they're going to try to do it. It wasn't like people will tell you stuff and then they go back on their deal. I had a guy. Oh, I probably shouldn't. I don't want to talk about all the bad things people do, but it's just hard when you can't rely on neighbors, to be honest. And it's very nice to see those that are. And I've always said, it's like, when you're struggling in life and somebody doesn't keep their side of a deal when you thought you were going to get something from them. It's like, it makes you wonder why. Why don't the people who do business not realize that's horrible bad for their business, for one thing, and secondly, they hurt themselves as well. You could talk about several people. Oh yeah, I could. I'm just trying not to talk about them. Yeah, I have several people right now I'm having issues with that were honest to me, and it's not like I'm trying to talk bad about people. It's just tough when you're low on money and you make a deal with somebody, and then they don't keep their side of the deal. They got their goods out of it, pretty much the most part, and then you don't get what you were supposed to have, or they change their mind. Coffee. My coffee's about gone, though. I'm filling with hot water. Just be right back. He's a coffee addict. Oh. Well, I guess you might be able to say I'm addicted to it, but I could stop it. I have stopped before. I'm not saying I have to have it. I like it. But it's not, I don't think I wouldn't die if I didn't have it. I could probably just drink, what? Stupid phone. No. Yeah, sorry guys. My glasses, with the glare of the light, there's so many scratches on it. It makes it a little hard to see when I have to come close to read the words. I'm nearsighted, so if you see me taking my glasses on off because I want to see from a distance, but yet if I need to see close, I have to remove them because of the glare. The only two aspects I don't miss about living up near where you are is how short the money we were. Besides the bugs up there. Yeah, people up here, that's a fact. People up here are always short on money, it seems like. And a lot of them aren't always honest either. I mean, there are some good, honest people, but there are some that aren't. And when, it's hard when you run into those dishonest ones. You want to trust them and you don't realize that they're not honest, and then it turns out that you don't get paid or don't get what you had a deal on, or liars. But now on bugs, I'd say this is there's probably less bugs up here than anywhere I've ever lived. I've lived a lot of places. I was born in Colorado, which I don't remember. I grew up in California and Utah. I remember little bits of that, not much either. And then Wisconsin and Missouri. And then I joined the Amish, moved to Ohio, or went to Ohio and joined the Amish. And I'd say Ohio had bugs, maybe not as many as when I moved to Kentucky. There was more bugs. And when I moved to Belize, that's when I got to see bugs. I probably saw more bugs in Belize than, I don't know. That's one place the bugs almost never die, it seems like sometimes. Certain kinds of bugs for sure. And it's surprising what certain bugs can do, so much damage they can do. You wouldn't think they were capable of. I mean, in Central America, that for me the biggest pests were ants. I mean, just small little ants. They could do more damage than almost any bug you could name, depending on what you're doing, though. I mean, I'm saying with gardening, farming, the ants were a big problem, and with livestock, ticks were a problem. I mean, up here, I've seen very, very few ticks. Have you ever seen videos of locust swarms in Africa? I have seen a few. I've actually seen a locust swarm once in my life when I was out west. It's been years ago. I don't remember that well, but yeah, locusts, they can be dangerous. Up here, grasshoppers are, I don't know. I can't even say I saw one this year. And the thing is, when I was in Belize, I started eating the things. I take them in, I drop them in oil and fry them. And my worker said, "Boy, the grasshoppers have to watch out for you." And I said, "Yeah, I like them. They almost taste like pork rinds when you drop them grasshoppers in the oil, the lard, and you fry them up. You take the legs off, obviously." Several grasshoppers and praying mantis this year. Not a big thing here. Now, in Belize, they were they would disgusting. But they would turn from black. The last stage, when they get their wings, turn a brown gray color, and then underneath the wings was red. It was bright red. They're really, when they'd fly, you'd see this red. I heard people say because like cheese puffs. Cheese puffs. Oh well, I said pork rinds. Maybe I'm wrong, but I felt like it was the flavor of pork rinds. But again, I was frying it in lard, so frying the grasshopper in lard, I guess you get the lard flavor there too. So you're getting that. Quite good, actually. I didn't like crickets. Tried a few crickets. Weren't that good. Just like dirt, kind of like catfish. You know, you get certain catfish, you get an earthy flavor. Hey, I wasn't that hungry. I just did it for the fun of it. You know, it wasn't like I was starving. I had plenty of other food, but I just want to try it out, see if I could eat grasshoppers and survive. But I tried termites once, and they weren't small. Tried ants once. I pretty much tried almost everything. Pretty much. Never ate any monkey though. That's one thing. The natives down there, they hunt monkeys and eat them. And I don't know. Just the thought of eating a monkey just didn't sound too appetizing. Don't know why. But it was by the natives. The monkeys brought a lot of money in the market. Oh yeah, that's it. I had alligator too. Yeah. Yes, I have. What? Didn't I tell you I've eaten most things? I think I actually did once. I had a muskrat too. Muskrat, beaver, groundhog, possum, coon, cat. Never tried a fox or a dog. But yeah, alligators. We had a lot of them in Belize too. We had stories of the monkey brain festivals in South Asia creep me out. You eat them too, but Central America, the certain areas they would hunt the howler monkeys. No, sorry. So they hunt the spider monkeys more than the howlers. The howler monkeys, there was a lot more of them. Those things were so noisy. I mean, they would scream at each other from the tops of trees at night. Sound like a cross between a wild bull and I don't know what you compare it to, a wild bull and something crazy. It sounded rough. When you first moved down there, you didn't know what it was. It was like, boy, what is that? That's a howler monkey. Okay. Yeah, we don't have any monkeys here. There's actually, for some reason, this area that you see very few deer, very few wild animals except for turkeys. Lots and lots of turkeys. We have pretty much every wild turkeys in our fields. And otherwise, when it comes like to big game, I haven't really seen much. They say part of what it is in this area, the tribe, they can hunt without limit on the deer. Pretty much, and a lot of them do year round. So what it does, it keeps the population pretty low. Now there's deer coyotes, and I had a neighbor said he saw last week he saw a mountain lion. It sounds good to me, but if you go west of here, there's a lot more wild animals, larger game, moose, bears. We even saw porcupines over there out west. Yeah, when we head towards the national forest, there's a little more of that stuff away from the tribe. There's not as many hunters out there, I think. I'd be kind of cool to see a bright white Yeti in the snow in UP. So, yeah, a lot of people talk about them. I still actually doubt there's anything to it, but again, I've never seen one. Never seen tracks either. The thing is, up here in the winter, it's pretty hard to hide your tracks. I mean, when it snows and pretty much everything leaves a track if you walk in it. And when the snow gets deep, it actually gets pretty hard to travel without snowshoes. I have a pair that I use, and sometimes just to go out and check the mail, I just amuse myself. Yeah. I go out and check the mail and put snowshoes on just to go check the mail. It's so deep.
What you don't have is a pair of short skis.
Short skis? No, I don't know. I never really tried skiing. I mean, I've been on one once or twice, just a bit, but I never actually tried overland cross-country skis. I think it'd probably be a good idea up here if you want to travel distance in the winter. Should try it out one of these days. I need to find somebody who wants to move up here to help out, and in the winter.
You are indentured servant.
Well, no, not necessarily, but in the winter, let's see, I just got a pair of Russian Army boots for the winter. Super insulated Gore-Tex and all the warmest boots I've ever used. Sound pretty nice. Yeah, I had a pair of nice boots, but I just cut my one with a chain, so I hope I'll try to fix it. But I had a pair like that, and they lasted me 2 seasons, and I wore them a lot. Normally, when I get a pair of insulated boots, they last 1 year, and these were, what are they called, wifey? Dry shod. And those dry shod boots, they outlasted the other more expensive boots by quite a bit. Let's see, bring those boots back together. Yeah, I probably could. I mean, I have to try something because boy, almost brand new. I mean, it was like epoxy. Yeah, they were almost brand new. I mean, it's like, come on, I don't want to ruin a pair of boots just because of a chainsaw cut. I was thinking since I hurt my foot like this, I can't put my boot on. I've been wrapping my foot. Flex and seal stuff, maybe that might work. I realized, if you wrap your foot in enough layers of material, you can make a pretty warm foot cover, with by wrapping it. But then you'd have to put something on it to keep it from getting wet. And I know that they say the Eskimos used to take wrap their feet, and then they would put caribou. I think it was caribou. It was the leather with the hair still on from their feet, and they'd put that on their boots or their leggings, and that would really help with the cold and the snow. I don't know where you get that up here, but let's see. They say footwear can be better and warmer than any socks. You have to tie them right. Foot strap wraps. He's going through my cling wrap. Yeah, I've been wrapping my foot with a wool scarf and then putting cling wrap around it and a bag on top to keep it from getting wet. And it seems like it stays warm enough. It's all right, but no, but the snow wouldn't be that much different than mud. I mean, I've been walking in mud with it. As long as with enough cling wrap wrapped around it, it keeps it dry. See, the footwear can be better. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was nice week. I really liked the fact that we didn't have any snow almost, and was able to get the house covered. Yeah, I've got quite a few logs to saw yet. I'm hoping to saw a bunch of them up and get them moved over to the house before the snow gets deep, but we'll see what happens. It's at this point it could snow any time and stay, so we are on like any day we're going to get snow, and it could stay. I should find somebody who knows how to make sleigh runners and put runners on all my stuff. Because, boy, it's a lot easier to pull the load on with runners or a sled on snow. I love where the moonlight reflects on the snow here, making the nights visible. We're standing guard, soldier, something. Big game hunter. Oh yeah, some nights when it's snowing and the full moon's out, you can see well. I mean, you hear all the sounds too. It's so quiet. You can hear almost every sound from a long distance. Like if someone's walking in the snow, you'd hear it. It would be quite, it's pretty hard to hide sounds on a cold winter night when the wind's not blowing and it's quiet. Every little crack, you hear it. Yeah, it's very peaceful. I think the only thing that really breaks it here is the coyotes. You hear the coyotes and the train. We have a train go by, I'd say a couple times a day. You hear the train going. Usually at night.
About what, over a mile or just about a mile?
We're probably about a mile from the tracks. But on those cold nights, before the locks freeze, you can hear the tugboats when they sound off when they're coming into the lock. You can hear the horns. I prefer fox over coyotes, and coyotes are more pets, and foxes are more majestic creatures to me. Yeah, I've seen a few foxes around, not in our place. I've never seen a fox here, but I've seen some around. And usually people are complaining they're eating their chickens. Thankfully, we haven't had any chicken thieves lately. I got a skunk last month, I think it was.
Usually we have one or two every year.
Yeah, usually we get a skunk coming by about every fall.
And spring sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, skunks, they love to eat chicken eggs and chickens. Chicken eggs especially. You'll notice the chicken eggs all. Well, this year, our biggest issue with chicken eggs this year was the ravens. I mean, they were coming in almost every day, stealing eggs, and almost regularly, you'd figure about between 9 and 12. A couple of ravens have come and still eggs. And if I was out there, I could keep them away, but otherwise they just sneak in and get the eggs. I haven't seen Brett tonight. No, Pete's not on tonight. He said he was. Yeah, if anybody wants a Doberman dog, let me know. I want to give them away because I need to cut down on my feed bill. And I don't trust him with the goats. I let him out sometimes, and I notice when I'm not watching him, he'll chase the goats and try to bite them. And I don't want him killing any goats, so I'm gonna have to get a different dog because I can't let him out. I don't like that. Don't keep him in his pen. I was thinking maybe I should get me one of them little teeny white dogs. I forget their names, but they're like a little bigger than a Chihuahua and they're pure white. I'm not sure they're Pomeranians, but a lot of people relax out Saturday a bit. Yeah, sleep. I've been doing it earlier lately, but it's easier when it's more quiet. Kids all fell asleep. Oh no, I think I need to find me a little white dog, a little bit longer hair, for the winter. Because we got white cats now. It'd be nice to have a white dog and white cats. I always wanted white cats my whole life. Now I finally got them. Hey, just give me some hot water, please. Samoyed. I keep cats. I couldn't tell you the breed of dog you're thinking of. I don't know the name either. I've seen pictures of them. They're just little. They look a little bit like a Samoyed, but
Samoyeds are about, I think they're like a medium-sized dog, but they're white and fluffy.
They're not just pure. Oh, Samoyeds are those big ones.
They're medium-sized. Mom has a couple of them.
Yeah, we need a dog that doesn't need as much food.
I know the small ones are Great Pyrenees.
Well, yeah, but we need a dog that's not as hard to feed because you get a big dog and small Scotty dogs. That might be what they are. I'm not sure. Well, he was with them, and it wasn't causing any trouble. I had him since I raised him as a pup. I had him for generations, the ancestors of this dog. But his sister, she was a killer, and she killed 2 goats, and I gave her punishment for it, and I thought it was over. And then about 6 months later, she killed 6 goats, and I think he was probably with her, but I'm pretty sure she had done the killing because everything that ever got killed, she did it. She killed chickens, she killed rabbits, squirrels, cats. I mean, she was just anything she'd get on, she'd kill it. And he wasn't that way. He would usually play with them, but I'm scared if the ghost starts screaming and run and he bites them, he'll get worked up to where he'll hurt one. I just don't know.
You already chased him.
Huh?
You already chased him.
No, he chases them, but I'm not sure if he'd actually kill them. I don't know if he'd actually kill the goat. Although I'm scared to try it. I never heard a dog turn on family stock. My cats are bigger than small dogs too, which is kind of funny. One is yellow and fluffy like a lion, and black as a panther. Yeah, we've had a lot of black cats try to sneak in here, and I always get rid of them. I'm trying to keep my cats white. It's amazing the stray black cats that show up. Don't know where they come from. Because most people around here, they neuter their cats. So it must be tom cats can travel a long distance. Because the neighbors, wasn't any neighbors' cats. We had 2 black ones this summer already come in. One was jet black and the other one was mostly black.
I had that one fat one.
Let's say fission. Yeah, my one dog, I always had an issue with these dogs, these Dobermans. They like to chase the animals. They're hunters. And when the animals start to run, as long as the animal wasn't running, they were fine. But as soon as the animal started to run, they chase it. And I had in Belize, the grandmother of this dog, she used to get a hold of the horses' tails and hang on. She'd run them horses and grab on the tail and just swing on the tail. And she started doing it to the cows, and I had to stop her because she was ripping their tails up. I mean, I wasn't so worried about the horses because they kick at her and get her sometimes, but she never really damaged anything when she'd ride the tail like that. But with the cows, when they get a hold of the cow tail, she started ripping the tail up, and that was no good. Yeah, actually, there are a few of our cats. There's a few of our cats that actually live in the woods, and they don't almost never come in. They come in. You'll see them maybe once a month, once every few months. And we have one particular cat that has lived in the woods almost ever since she was born. I mean, I remember her, she was born in the woods, and I saw her. She came in when she was a kitten for a little bit, and then she left again. And she had her kittens in the woods as well. And it's interesting because she pretty much stays in the woods. There's a hollow tree down by the creek. It's a willow, and she had her babies. I found them in there. She basically was living like a wild animal, but she does every once in a while. You'll see her sneak in. She's so shy. She doesn't even come into milk when I give them milk in the mornings. All the cats gather for their milk, and she doesn't come in. I'm not sure I'm not sure what the thing is with her, but she never was one to come in. She's an interesting looking cat. She's got a white body, a black spot on her tail, and she's got black on her ears and a little bit of brown spot right on her head. Yeah, she's an interesting color, though. I mean, I never seen a cat with that color. She had like this brown splotch right in the middle of her face, and then over one eye partly, and then black on the ears, black on the tail. But it wasn't like a Siamese, though. The tail black is probably 3 or 4 inches. Well, there's quite a bit of partridges down in the woods. I'm pretty sure she can get partridges. And then there's also squirrels. We saw this fall was a black squirrel come in for a bit. It seems like whenever a squirrel comes into our area, they don't last long. I mean, you'll see them for a few days, and then a couple days later, you'll see a squirrel tail sitting on the ground where one of the cats got them. The cats, they're pretty consistent about cleaning the squirrels out. You guys notice cats don't eat moles or shrews. They'll kill them, but they won't eat them. They'll leave them sitting there. I wonder why. Well, they say shrews are poisonous. I don't know about moles, but they don't want to eat a mole. They'll just play with them and leave them sitting there. They don't eat them, but they do get them. I noticed the goats are starting to eat the beets. Their face is all red on both sides of their nose. Yep. They're starting to eat our beets. I got 2 full bags of beets already in. We already canned a bunch of them, so we really don't need more beets. But if someone needs beets, just let me know and come up and get some. I got a lot of beets in the ground still. I don't think we're going to use them all. We've already got enough. If anything, I'll just feed them to pigs. But it looks like to me that there's a whole lot of beets in the garden still that need to be harvested. I have a ham. My cat Midnight will want some. This is favorite human food. I give him a little piece every now and again. Yeah, our cats. I buy food for the cats and feed them every day. Some people say you shouldn't do that, but we got so many of them, you almost have to. I mean, we got too many of them to support that many cats. Just on wild stuff. And I kind of want them to stay here, so. And being they're all barn cats, if you didn't feed them, they'd probably end up running off. What's that?
How's your hay supply doing?
My hay supply? I think the hay supply is fine. Been feeding about 2 to 3 bells a day already.
A day?
Yep. About the last week and a half, I've been feeding hay every day. Pasture's low enough, the grass isn't growing, so I figured, well, especially the cows, they keep crying. Cows have a harder time eating short grass than horses. The horses can eat down a lot lower than the cows. Once the grass gets short, cows have a hard time, biting it off or chew. See, cows, they get the grass and they rip it off, and when it's too short, they barely get anything. Where the horses can go all the way down, almost to the ground, and take it all right off, where a cow can't. So when the pasture gets low, like it is now, I'd say the cows actually, they're more apt to need to be fed quicker. Have you ever been to Copper Harbor? No, we haven't been to Copper Harbor. We went up there once into that copper country, but we never been to Copper Harbor. North towards Canada. Looks like the end of the world from there. Yeah, when you go up into Canada north of us, there isn't much up there. It's pretty much empty. There's a lot of lakes and good fishing, they say, and good hunting, but not many people. It's pretty much empty. And the same as you go west of here. I mean, not very far from us. I mean, it's probably 8-10 miles. You hit National Forest, and it runs all the way west, halfway across the Upper Peninsula. So there's a lot of empty land up here. I mean, it's not near all settled. I sure wish they'd let people log some of those trees out of the state forest. There's some gigantic big white pines. Keep our land that way. Now the white pines, they only live so long and they start to die. And you can see a lot of them are starting to die, but they won't let you harvest them. I don't want to be like the rest of the world. Yeah, but if all of us die, it will grow back into forest again. And I think the animals actually do better. They do better with some fields around. Because when you get straight forest, deer have a hard time finding enough grass. Well, I mean, they can eat trees too, but like here, the deer, they actually move into the swamps in the winter. Because the snow gets so deep, they can't feed. So they move into the swamps, and they start to eat bark. I think they might eat cedars. They move into the cedar swamps. I don't know if they eat cedar or they just hide in the cedars. The snow gets so deep here, it's pretty hard for animals to feed on the ground. How does I speak German? Oh, I learned it from the Amish. And I learned it from different people in Belize. I learned Plattdeutsch, and then High German I learned just from Germans, a lot of it, and then from the Amish as well. But people say the High German I speak is an old, very old High German. And someone said the other day it's a lot like Texas German. And I listened to some Texas Germans, and I said, yeah, it is actually. We speak, the Amish in general speak more of a mixed dialect. It's not purely German. And I say, in general, I speak more German than most Amish do. That being, I associate a lot more with Germans from Germany. So I gained a little more of the High German into my vocabulary. The Amish here, I'd say most of them understand High German, but they speak Pennsylvania Dutch.
I can understand the flat Dutch, but it's hard to understand.
Meinst du kannst Plattdeutsch reden? Weil voor mij, ik probeer... Wel, ik doe niet veel Plattdeutsch reden. Dus geen mensen wat hier doet zo mensen die hier zijn. I'm out of practice. With the Low German, I'm out of practice. But if I'm around them, it wouldn't take me long to pick it back up again. I think it would probably take a few days. I'd be back at it again. With the Amish dialect, I've never. Most people would never notice that I wasn't born speaking it. But I started learning German when I was 18. I just contacted the Amish and they love me furniture and figure out when I'll be left alone beyond that. No, it depends. It depends which Amish they are. I mean, some Amish are really friendly, some aren't. It kind of varies from group to group, from family to family. I mean, I was from the outside, so I know how it feels to be an outsider coming in. And yeah, not all the Amish are too welcoming to outsiders. I understand that. They're more private. Oh yeah, there are. Yeah, up here, the two groups here around us are Swartzen Trooper based. They aren't Swartzen Trooper, but they're from the Swartzen Troopers. Yes, I do want a community someday, and no, it will not be Amish because I don't. I would like to have a similar community to the Amish, but I don't believe the same as the Amish do. Yes, I agree with that. And to have a community for the children, you need to have that privacy in a way to maintain the community. I don't blame them for not wanting to be bothered by the world because, you know, the way the world's going, people don't understand. They don't understand the little parts of a community and why people do what they do. Yeah, it seems like the old ways are being lost. And even in the Amish, I noticed a big change in the Amish even in the time where I was there. You'd see a change. The young people, as the cell phones came out, see, when I was there were no cell phones at first. And by the time I got banned from the Amish, they had started getting cell phones. And you could see the difference the cell phone was making in the communities. I mean, it was really making a difference. And so now, like the bigger communities like Ohio, Pennsylvania, Indiana, they have to deal with it. They've got all these kids with cell phones, and it does definitely make a difference in the communities. I mean, if anybody's on Facebook, you can find all kinds of Swartzen Trooper Amish Facebook accounts. I'm not on Facebook, but I'm just saying I used to be, and I know there's a lot of them on there. And they're posting stuff about their parties and drinking. You know, the kids were getting more and more wild. And from the time I had first moved to Ohio, from the time I left, I noticed a big difference, especially with the younger girls going out drinking. At first, when I was first there, it was more just boys. And as time went on, it seemed like the girls started going out too. And it's kind of sad to see that. I mean, yes, it does. And like here, I don't think here, I've never heard any of the young people here drinking or smoking. And so I don't think every community, you can't take one community and say that's how it's going to be for all, because they're all different. But in doctrine, they're very similar. My biggest difference with the Amish could be, I want to follow a biblical-based doctrine, not based off councils. Just try to be like a country song. I want to follow the Bible the best I can, as the Bible says it. So, like, I believe in baptism in the name of Christ Jesus for remission of sins by immersion, where the Amish don't believe that, they don't practice that. I would feel that the church is not the kingdom. The kingdom of God is in you. If the Christ is in you, then the Spirit is what makes the body. The body of Christ is the Spirit of Christ in you, where they would look at it as the church as being the kingdom. And I feel like people misunderstand that, because when Christ comes back, he will establish his kingdom. And at this point, we're just trying to prepare and be ready for his return. And actually, Amish view is a lifestyle, not my religion. Okay. No, I appreciate the lifestyle more than my problem with the religion is the first the main thing was I got banned for disagreeing with the bed courtship. I don't think bed courtship is a good thing. I don't think young people should be sleeping together before marriage. I mean, they say they don't do anything, but obviously it happened. It was happening. In some communities, it's pretty bad. And as the way the world is, it's like humans. We're all human. Humans make mistakes. Humans are prone to do wrong. Say, Room Springer. Well, the idea of Rumspringa, like what most people think, is not quite what it actually was. Most of the parents did not sanction what the children were doing. They wouldn't. They would have rather not, or they would have tried to stop it if they could have. And sometimes I think they tried, but the biggest thing that's happening is you got these gangs. Lifestyle religion's better attitude though to it. Bad courtship thing. I think what happened was the gangs, the young people gangs, they had so much peer pressure. As a young person would join the young people, a lot of times they would get sucked into these gangs where the gangs would they were basically so powerful that the parents couldn't do anything to stop them. And they did pretty much what they wanted, and they got away with pretty much anything they wanted, including underage drinking and a lot of things that the most English people wouldn't get away with, which I'd say part of it's because of the way they are. They go out in maybe a cornfield or a woods, and they'd have their party there. But you'd see kids still in school in the parties sometimes drinking. I'm saying like 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds. I'm not saying a little alcohol for a child is deadly wrong. It's just going for a drunk at that age is not a good thing to do. And a lot of times the parents would be in church while this was happening. Because, see, twice a year they have what they call ordinance church, where they would get to have their all-day church service, basically, where they would read the Bible and also go off and read the ordinance, talk about the ordinance. I was seeing to get all that. I was sneaky enough to get away with all that. And worse, too, lucky for me, I came to my senses when I grew up. Oh, I done my share of I did my share of things I shouldn't have done in my early 20s. I went with the boys some. But I feel like, as a Christian, we should be trying to live in a way that's not just feeding the flesh, and try to live a godly life. And a lot of times I think what happens in these communities, a lot of people join churches to get married. And they weren't joining the church necessarily because they had the desire. Some do, some don't. But I think a lot of it was they knew if they didn't join church, they couldn't marry. So the only way to marry was to join church. And that was, so they'd say, oh, well, I got to quit drinking. I got to join church. And then they would get married. And the problem is, if you're just following God, or you're just joining church because you want to marry, and you don't do it for the right reason, it can cause trouble. Having my time to do what was important for me, I think I know what that road is like, and I'm not wondering and not tempted to that last again. Like I said, I'm not against some alcohol in moderation. I just think it's the whole idea of over drinking at a young age like that, in a partying setting like they were, is not good at all. And I know some young people that were hurt by that. Their brain, they fried their brains. But maybe this running the gauntlet only wants the modern world's taste. Preach the old ways and good family support, help keep a home to return to. Yeah, I think if society goes on like I think it will eventually collapse, and hopefully there'll be enough people left to rebuild when it's all over, because society's always going in cycles. They go up and they come down, and at this point I think we're about as high as it's ever been. We got too many people who have no life skills, who don't know the basics, and you worry sometimes that I wish I could help more people see that, but you can't. It's hard to take a person and show them. Yes, I see what's happening around here. People join church to get married. I'm afraid there are many false converts. Basic carbon essential. Yes, and like I said, yeah, that converting to churches to marry was I know it seemed to be one of the biggest problems, because in my mind, the faith should be based on conviction. in my mind, if you read Hebrews 11, faith is not just a confession, but also action. And a lot of times, some of the Amish guys would try to get away with as many things they possibly could, so long as no one found out. And I'm not talking about just church rules. I'm talking about the military term makes me highly vulnerable in the event of a siege or collapse as a leader. Yeah, the Amish, there are some, I believe, that actually truly try to live a Christian life. And I'm not saying that's not all of them. But when I was with the Mennonites, you see there's some Mennonites that you'll see these churches, they'll turn more towards the biblical way, but then they become so modern and so liberal. Are you from a community too, Dixie? Was raised modern. And she was raised modern. She married me.
I was raised non-denominational Christian.
Well, she was raised. She says non-denominational Christian, but I always.
The preacher used to be Baptist.
Bread makers in Central. Yeah, bread making. No, when she married me, that's when she first got exposed to this lifestyle. I think sometimes she doesn't like me for it, but I think one of these days she'll be thankful for it. These glasses. Sorry, guys, if my glasses keep glaring on me from that light.
I didn't know how to sew. I didn't know how to can. I'm pretty good at canning now. I'm still not so good at sewing. Let's see. What else do the Amish do? I'm not that fond of gardening.
Well, no. Most things Amish do you weren't fond of.
I hate mopping and dusting.
Oh, I'm saying hopefully the kids will be better. No, it's one of those things. If you can somehow raise the children better than you were raised, maybe it'll make a difference. So what? I was trying to think. When's the baby due? February?
End of February.
Yeah, we're supposed to have our baby in February, hopefully. And then
I'll be 26 weeks on Tuesday.
Oh, you're heavy. You get yourself a chair. You can sit next to me. Bye. No, it was. I think when I grew up, I saw the way the world was, and like all the divorce, fighting. The Amish should have been born again. For example, I did not feel obliged to be Amish to be Christian. As far as I can tell, she's very committed to you. You're lucky man having the way you do. Not every woman's willing to walk past anyone.
Oh, we've had our fights.
Yeah, she left me twice. You got to remember that. But thankfully, she came back. I always said, it's always in the back of my mind, you can't trust her 100%. That's the thing. But hopefully. No, I think when you're raised the way she was, it's hard to give up the modernism. In general, the modernism is so strong, especially with women. Like I noticed when I post stuff, most of the people viewing my stuff are all men. Very few women actually follow what I'm posting, which I thought was interesting. Not a lot of women are following the pages.
I wonder why.
I don't think they probably don't see the danger of what's happening in society, maybe.
And they like the easy life.
Yeah, well, men do too, but I think it's too, the women maybe are more, maybe they're busy doing something else. I don't know.
Chasing education and careers, not raising kids.
Pampered. Yeah, well, I think what I noticed, like if you go on, I was, just the way people are, I was on, I opened a TikTok account about 2 weeks ago, and I noticed almost all the people following my account are bearded men. The majority of them are bearded men. They got beards and they're men, which it's because I can't see on YouTube who's following me so much, just like on there. But I think a lot of men really want to maintain a more traditional lifestyle, and over the years, over the years, I on Facebook, I had a lot of groups I used to run, and again, most of them were men.
Except for one that a lot of women on your gardening one.
Well, my gardening group, I had a gardening group, the simple old-fashioned way, and that one had
Mostly women.
80% older women. They're in the 50-plus age. So in the gardening groups, you're going to find a lot of older women, but younger girls, very few younger girls at all. Most of them were older women, and then like on the heritage groups, traditional living was mostly men in general. I mean, I'd say less than 10% were women.
It's funny when he signed up for the farmers only. All the stuff he put about it, the women they showed him were all older women.
Yeah. They say I all the women that came up for me were in their 50s.
Because of your likes and stuff. That
similar
likes.
Similar likes or similar interests maybe. Yeah, too many younger women are. Life is too easy. They don't see the value. They don't see the value in the old ways as much. I'm a redhead.
Like you with shoulder length hair, and I wear glasses like you too.
Well, you know what about redheads? We all come from one guy. They say the red-haired gene started with one man, and I study a lot about red hair. I know most people don't care much about it, but there's 3 variations of the red hair. I know this may bore certain people, but it's from the MC1R gene on the 16th chromosome. I carry 32 markers of the MC1R gene on my 16th chromosome. Ginger. Yeah, if you got red hair, you're most likely a ginger, miss. Don't you realize that? I mean, the red hair, it runs with the ginger gene. You don't have to be redhead to be a ginger. But my wife, she's only got 4 markers of the MC1R gene. I've got a lot more than she does. I actually carry all 3 variants of red hair. But the reason I'm not a pure redhead is my mother. She didn't have. It takes 2 markers with the right amino acid on it to manifest. And my mother, she didn't have almost any markers compared to my dad. So my dad's the one carrying it. And because of that, I'm carrying it, but not manifesting it. So I think the way it works is if you look at the DNA, and I know this bores certain people, but on the end of each strand, there's a number they've made. It's A, C, T, or D. And it takes a double T on the I'm not sure what T stands for. It stands for amino acid of some kind to manifest the red hair. And I've got on one of mine, I've got 1 T. I'm blonde, brown hair. I'm growing ginger in the sun. Giants of old, we're all redheaded. I don't know. Almost the Danish Vikings in general. A lot of Danish Vikings are redheads. And the blonde hair comes more from the Goths. And the Goths are all blonde, most of them. And you got the proto-Germans. And that stretches the whole North Sea area. You got Scotland, England, Norway, Denmark, parts of Germany, and into some of France. But that whole family all ties back to the Proto-Germanic U106, L48, basically one family. And they were shorter, stocky, more red-haired, more sloping shoulders. You can kind of pick out the look, heavier set usually, than not skinny, not as straight-shouldered. You'll see these tall, long guys. That's definitely the Swedish, Swedes, the Dutch sometimes.
Don't forget to tell them about the high hairline.
Oh, this high hairline? That's the trait that's coming from that family as well. All my kids have it. Johnny's not as much, but David and Anna have it. So you have this high hairline here, that's the traits of the Vikings. Yeah, it's sad. Like I said, most of the old history is taken on the internet. It irritates me. It was like, I gotta write a book before all disappears. It's like, there was, used to be so much stuff on there. It's all gone now, pretty much. They actually actually, and this is I find very interesting, they actually removed the classification of red Nordic from the internet. If you look it up, it says not to show you red cloth. So they've actually removed the whole phenotype red Nordic out of the Google searches. Now they just listed as Nordic. But there was a big difference between the Gothic, which was originally classified as white Nordic, and the red Nordic, which was Proto-German. They spoke different language and different beliefs, different practices. And like, I find the Proto-Germans' history to be very interesting. If you study it, how they believed, what they believed in. They believed in the Creator. They didn't believe like the Goths in many gods. I've taken the key as much to European years. Google's money on me. Yes, I had all the old books before house burned. I gathered up as many books as I could find. I had Saxon Grammaticus, I had Olav Magnusson, Anglo-Saxon Chronicles, Tacitus. I had all the old books, and I really enjoyed reading them. And then the problem is to read them books. They're expensive, so maybe one of these days I'll try to read my old history books. But nowadays, all these newer books, they always try to bring in evolution, or they don't take context. Historical writings. The historical writings. I'm not saying everything is 100% accurate, but I don't believe that a lot of these historians were just lying about what they saw, what they observed. And like the stories that Saxo writes about, that was a lot of that stuff you can't read anywhere else. Yeah, sometime I should get someone to come on. We should talk about the early European history. There's a lot in that people don't know. It's very interesting. I'll let you guys go. I'll let you guys go to bed. And like I said, if anybody ever wants to call me, my number's on the about section. I like to talk to people sometimes. I don't do as much, so I stay up late. So it don't worry about calling me late. It doesn't really matter to me. And right now I'm still being hurt. I can't work quite as hard, so. Almost exhausted. Yeah. Apparently so. Yeah, it must be they're really trying to get rid of the Proto-German history, because I searched about a dozen different subjects on that subject, and they're all gone. There's no links, no pictures, no maps. They took down every single reference story, and it makes me wonder. I noticed it was back in 2017. Facebook kept going after my posts I was making. But it was you could still get stuff on Google. It wasn't Google hadn't removed it. But now Google's taking it all down. But I'm thinking there's some reason behind that, and it could partly be that people who know their history don't know where they came from, and don't have as much of a vision of how their ancestors were. If you look at the moral code of the Germans, and you study how they believe and how they kept their families and their communities, it's very comparable, close to Christianity. And in some ways, it has actually a stronger set of rules than even the Christian church. And a lot of people don't know that. So when people tell me that the Christian church is the one that made all these rules, I say, you know the Protestants. I guess they don't realize that they had a society of order and law, and they had the freedom society where most men who were criminals or slaves were free, and they could had one vote in the council, and they could own their own property. It was not as much a top-down society like most countries, a king or the ruler. What's up? Just logged on. That was cool. They usually had the leader, but he still went in front of the army in the battle. They stayed on his side. The chief didn't stand in the back. He got in the front. So it was a whole different setup. Like you're Roman would have followed them. So it was to be a leader in a dramatic society was much more dangerous. We'll say that way. And the funny thing is, they didn't want to die. That's quite obvious from the way the records would show. Where Celtic people, which is very interesting, I find the Celtic people, they had reincarnation. So when they went into battle, they didn't care that because they believed they could come back. Where if you look at the Germanic idea, or the pro-German idea, they believe that the children would carry on their memory and its resurrection. Or like the Gothic people, the original Goths, a lot of them would burn their dead. They didn't bury their dead, they burned them. And a lot of people, when they read history, they forget there's two different groups and they're very different. Art painting, digital form, landscape, battle scenes, and best works I've ever seen. I never collected much art. I did a lot of looking at the pictures that were on the internet at one time. But most of those pictures are gone now. I mean, what was confusing to me is they not only removed just the proto-dramatic history, they removed almost all references of the Armenian, the biblical history, they moved all the biblical history even, coming from the Bible or the Book of Jasher, the Book of Enoch. In Book of Enoch, you can still find that in some of the sites. But like the Book of Jasher, the stories that were coming out of those books are gone. I'll let you guys go, and you guys will take